Okay, so this is going to be my quick Photoshop tutorial on how to erase something. So if you know Lightroom works alongside with Photoshop. So if you right click, you can go to Edit In, and then it just goes Edit in Adobe Photoshop CC. So it takes that image directly straight out of the software you're already working on, which makes it super easy, and it just keeps your workflow going nice and fast. So
and then does it go back or does it keep?
it does. It goes right back, actually in the exact order of what you took it out of. So when you go to do your export process, it's right there. You don't have to go and find it, rename it, or anything like that. It's going to be in the same order that it was that I took it.
What version of Photoshop is that?
This is the new one, I guess. I don't know.
Download it. I don't remember that picture. I'm on the cloud. I mean, I'm on,
Yeah, me too. I think I'm up to date. I should be. This is Adobe Photoshop CC 2018, so it should be the latest version.
I have to make sure it doesn't look like they're not giving me a little thing on my computer. Oh well. I'll check that. It just that looks different.
Right, bear with me for just a moment. I've got, I need to delete a lot of things off this computer. It's almost full of it. I've gone through a terabyte of memory in 3 months.
Oh my god, I have like a couple terabyte drives. External drive.
I've got these things everywhere. Everywhere.
I love those things.
Yeah.
I mean, but
And I'm sorry, the person in the office next door to me is vacuuming right now, so if you're hearing that noise, that's what that is.
How do I tell how much space I have on mine? Do I go to...
If you go up to the little Apple icon on the top left of your monitor, you'll click on it and click on About This Mac, and then from there you're able to see all the specifications of your computer. From being from, if you just click on memory, it'll then show you right there how much space you have left.
16 gig. It says, but I don't...
No, not that one. Go to the left. That you clicked on memory. You need to go to storage.
511 gig out of 1 terabyte.
So you're about half used. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down to where the tripod leg is so we can delete it. Now there is, the classic way of using the lasso tool and going through and doing content aware and then doing delete. But I found with this little band-aid, where's that?
Yeah, that's the healing. That's the healing.
Yeah, they call it the spot healing brush tool. So what I do with it is I keep it as small as I can to the diameter of what it is that I'm going to be erasing, and then I just simply go over that section and then let it do its magic. You'll see how still there's a lot of color that is uneven, and instead of me using the clone tool, I actually use the brush tool. And then on here what I do is I keep my opacity and my flow really low, like sometimes 26 on opacity, flow being like 30. And then obviously you hit the option button to get your little eyedrop tool, and then you're able to go over and brush it, and it still keeps a lot of the same texture that's underneath there because you keep your opacity low. And what you're able to do is then recreate the color that is around there, so that way whenever I zoom back out, you're not even going to notice it, and it'll still have a lot of that same texture. So there, now I've deleted out that tripod leg and you can't see it at all. And yet the color's still pretty good, and the texture's still there. So now I gotta erase myself because I forgot to get out of the way, which happens sometimes. So I'm gonna make this really big.
Because I have to edit like cell phone pictures before we get you out there.
Oh yeah.
You should see who I work with. Oh
I'm sure. Now one thing I've noticed too with people, and with like what I'm doing right now in a washer and dryer, if I just delete my head, you're not going to know what the rest of that is in that photo unless you're looking at it billboard size. So as long as you're able to erase body parts that are noticeable, then with it, it's enough to get by to just keep moving on to the next images, because I mean, we have so much to work on right now that it's like, let's just get them out there. So see, now that did enough where when I zoom out, just because I deleted my head, you don't know what this black blob is. You couldn't make that out to be anything. So now whenever I hit the X button and then go to hit save, you'll see how once the saving is complete, it literally is going to pop up in Lightroom. Here's the existing one that has the tripod in my face.
Yeah.
And then once it should be done by now. Come on.
That's cool.
But it'll pop up right next to it. So then here it comes. Then what I'm going to actually do is go through here and I will select the original, delete it. And then, why did I put it at the end?
Deleted the old one.
Yeah, so that way I don't accidentally import it. Now for some reason, this never happens. Am I in the wrong module? It put it to the end. It shouldn't have done that. Why did you do that? Huh. Well, it shouldn't have done that. That's weird. But, so that is a quick overview of essentially how I do my edits after, because you got to think, I'm going to merge all these files for you. I'm going to do the, which actually I do want to show you one real quick. So say for instance, like on this bathroom picture, if you get it and for some reason it is like god awful orange like that.
Yeah, a lot of times yellow.
Yeah, what you're going to do is hit W on your keyboard, and that's going to bring up the eyedrop tool. And what you're going to want to do is look for a section in the image itself that is a neutral, what would and should be white. So like for instance, I'm going to click right here on this door frame towards the bottom of it, and then once I click, it's going to automatically do its white balance adjustments to make it as close to what it should be to white. And then from there, sometimes you do have to do very small little tweaks to get it to where it matches the remainder of your photos, which is just simply right here on the temperature scale on the right. And like sometimes it's literally just bumping it one time or using that brush that I've shown you and just getting it to where it should be. Now I will show you a couple other things real quick while we're here on Lightroom. Whenever you do ever import a image, and obviously I'm going to already do this for you. Like if I click on lens corrections, because I shoot RAW, it already has all my camera's information there once I hit enable profile corrections. So that gets rid of any vignetting or any curving that happens from lenses. Then another really awesome tool is detail. Now, say if I'm shooting at nighttime and there's a lot of noise because I've had to use a really high ISO, then I can actually go through here and use their noise reduction software, and it's going to get rid of the grain that's actually in the image. So you do have that. You also have tone curve, where you can come in here and manually drag out any one of the curves for your highlights, lights, darks, and shadows.
That's like levels.
Exactly. And then you do have effects and all this other stuff, but we don't need to mess with any of that. But that is basically where it is. Now, when it comes time to exporting, what you're going to do is select all of your images, and then you're going to right click and go to export. Once you're in export, they have where you can select your folder. So if you go up top here, I'm going to put all these to how you're going to see it. There's export location. Once you click on export location, you can choose your folder, which in here, what I'm going to do is hit choose. I put it on my external drive, and then I go and look for the property itself. Once I've imported it, that's where it is. So I would click on that folder and hit choose, and then I would label one as being web use. So within that, because of how they need their files, as you know, I do resize to fit, which I click on this folder, and long edge I put as 2500 pixels and resolution as 300 ppi. Then simply for me to, once I hit export, I go back and do the same thing again. I right click, go down to export. Then in this folder, I'm going to type in high resolution, and it's already going to be selected in the folder location of where it's going to go. Then you just simply unclick that box and hit export, and it's going to do it as a high resolution image. And then that's it. Yeah.
So how am I going to get yours? How are we going to do that part?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to share all of them through the Office 365, like how I have been.
Okay.
And I'm going to label them as like property name needs edit. And then in there, you're just going to have the high resolution image. And then from there, you'll import that.
Oh, and I can do the sizing.
Then you can come in, and then you're going to do any and all corrections like what I just shared with you. And then you're going to do your export process to, I guess, just do web size images for what they'll need to just upport to put to the web. But that should be all of it that I can think of. Unless, do you have any questions for me at this time?
Not really. I think because I have not used Lightroom at all, but I think I will pick it up fast, but I may have questions once I start messing with it.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be taking photos and everything. Do we have any kind of order? Does anybody, have they asked for, other than that one property, are you going to finish this one?
I am. I'm going to work on the ones that they've asked me to edit, just so that way I can send you all the ones that there's no order that I know of right now. I'm going to work on the ones that they said, Trey, we've got to get these in. There's owners griping about it.
I got some of them are old, man. It's,
yeah.
I know. I mean, we're talking March. This is April. Okay?
Exactly. So that's what we'll work on. We'll get these to where we're all caught up, and then if in the future this happens, I mean, they gave me like in the month of, well, hell, even in the month of April so far, I've already shot, I think, 30 properties.
Well, and how does it work when you go to RealJoy, right? The Ops RealJoy thing?
I do, yes. Well, here, hold on. I'm going to stop recording on the camera real quick. Just a second.
Okay, go ahead and do that.